act of carrying it out. It's that moment where it takes us away from the physical or the material world, right? It's the actual act of doing it.
Right.
Okay, which in some ways is hard for me because isn't ritual, doesn't it mean routine, religious routine? And isn't routine, how do we transcend the cares of the physical or the material or the mundane world if we're engaged in routine? But I think that's a problem, but I think I get what Levinas is saying too.
Right.
What's he saying? I don't know.
He's basically saying that whether you're lighting candles on Shabbat or you decide not to mix your wool and linen, it's that moment where you carry out the act. That's the significance. It's not the act itself.
Right.
It's not what you do.
It's the
moment of carrying it out.
So what happens to you inside? Is that it?
No. See, Levinas says that it's not a personal thing. It's not, well, it's how, it's not that it brings me closer to God. It enhances my relationship with God. He's actually saying, no, this is kind of, I don't know if I agree with this, but he's saying, no, everybody should do it for this reason. We're all doing the same thing, but that act, it's a kind of, it's a little bit mystical.
Of it? What
do you mean the significance?
What's the significance, according to Levinas, of doing a ritual?
It is what he calls an event, which accomplishes something brand new. It's a moment where you're out of this world. You're lighting those candles. You're having to remind yourself, I guess, to take a step out of the material world, the physical world, the whatever. I'm really doing a really bad job of explaining
I think I feel like you did a good job of explaining it only because I think I get it. I mean,
It's a moment of transcendence.
Well, yeah.
I'll just try to quickly, from my own experience. I mean, that's in Eastern traditions, which I'm not smitten with either. But there's that recurring theme that a yoga or a dharma it's really all the same thing. Whether it can be tantric, it can be sex, it can be archery, it can be all sorts of different behaviors. But the idea is that a kind of total immersion in these behaviors does give you a sort of transcendence in that it something happens internally where you get beyond yourself and you achieve a sort of a distance from kind of normal human, the whims of the heart essentially, and you become bigger and better than you were previously. But I guess the difference is that they realize that yes, that this process is kind of liberating from the normal kind of slaveries of selfhood, but they're not hung up on any particular. They've divorced the process from the particular ritual.
Right.
So, so lighting the candles, sure, but why does everyone have to do it with that? What if that's not their bag? What if they've got a different bag?
Right.
What would Levinas say if someone said lighting candles is not my bag?
It depends at what point in his career. I mean, this very early essay that I just stumbled on is from 1935, I think. I mean, it was very early. He probably would have said, no, that's bad. You need to do it. This is what we do.
Right.
We're not doing it to connect us to something larger than ourselves. We're not doing it because it demonstrates that we're part of a community all doing it at the same time. We're doing it because it literally produces a new truth, an epiphany, a moment of transcendence. It's the act, the carrying out, not what it is.
But he does think it's that particular, that Judaism has stumbled upon the right set of acts, the right set of rituals.
He does.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's, I don't know that I agree with that. So that's where I have some difficulty with him.
I mean, it seems to me that if there's one possible explanation for why Judaism is very intense about community. So the idea is, no, don't find your own bag. Everyone do the same thing. You'll get that experience, and then you'll identify with one another socially because that's our thing. That's our small difference that we can be narcissistic about, and so we get community and spiritual growth. Maybe that's the
regarding that bit in the text where it condemns the guy for doing as his heart sees fit, reminds me of something that talk show host Michael Medved says. According to him, liberals say follow your bliss. conservatives say, do your duty. So if that's true, then this is a very conservative document.
Yeah, right.
Because Moses doesn't say anything about following your bliss.
But what does Moses do? Let's stop thinking about what Moses says and let's think about what Moses does. What does he do?
Right, and all the prophets.
He leads the Israelites.
He doesn't follow his bliss?
No, he didn't want to be. He didn't want to lead the Israelites. God told him to do it, and he very reluctantly agreed.
Yeah, grudgingly.
He
makes
doesn't seem-
mistakes all along the way.
Well, where would you say Moses is following his bliss?
He's got a problem with impulse control.
How so?
The rock. I mean,
Well, this
he
is
gets
his.
mad. He throws tablets down. He's crazy.
Is that because he's leading a life of following his bliss, or is that because he's stuck with a task that he really doesn't want?
Probably a little of both.
What do you think? Do you think Moses is following his bliss, or do you think he's stuck with a task that he doesn't want?
My inclination, gosh, I don't know. I don't know what I think. Obviously, I don't know what he actually thought. If we're willing to pretend he existed, but I.
That was Joey who said that,
right? But I do. I am thinking right now just about different, like the concept of a calling. That there's, that traditions that are serious about understanding the will of your own heart are about distilling your are often interested in distilling your calling from all the other static out there. So I mean, he literally had a calling. I mean, he was. I'm wondering how distinct. It seems like a hard transition, a hard dichotomy between following your bliss and following your duty. But I'm not sure that they're that distinct, as distinct as they might seem.
Yeah,
Why isn't it really distinct? Like Moses, if he wanted to follow his bliss, he would have picked up his easel and started painting and told God to stop it. I'm not going to go lead the Israelites. I don't want it. Said very clearly, he doesn't want to lead the Israelites. And he's not suited for it because he's a lousy speaker.
Right.
He doesn't want to do it, but he took on an obligation.
Well, look, but if he said he literally didn't want to do it, then I suppose we can take him at face value and figure out he was just following orders that he wasn't interested in.
He was being a good soldier.
But at the same time, just pulling on my last 2.5 years of experience at Juicy, there were times that I was overcome with frustration, and maybe frustration or anger, not at people in particular, but that always came in the context of I was really passionate about what I was doing, and I really wanted it to go in the direction I thought it ought to go. I wasn't frustrated because I goddamn the whole task. It was because I wanted it so bad, because it was very deeply important to me. So I mean, that may be an explanation for it's a loss of control in the context of trying to control your passion about something, maybe.
Do you see a significant difference between an ethos of following your bliss and an ethos of do your duty?
I think it's all gray and murky. I mean, these days it's really difficult for me to think in terms of any kinds of binary, oppositional, whatever. I mean, it's really hard. Either or thinking is not really, doesn't work for me anymore.
How long have you been out of academia?
She's in academia. She's a professor.
Oh,
Can't you tell?
Okay. So
no one who wasn't in academia would say what she just said.
Well, no, that's what I was going to say.
Anyone who had to run a business or raise children
right.
or anyone, but
well,
if only in academia can you take that attitude.
Right.
I got that from Judaism, though.
Right.
My thinking has developed more from Judaism than it has from academia.
Yeah.
I mean,
Why do you say you got that from Judaism? Because this book is full of thou shalt and thou shalt nots. Right? No.
Right, but what about Midrash? What about Talmud? What about these responses to the biblical text that literally perform the admonition to turn it and turn it, because there's always another interpretation. This is so anti either or thinking, it's not funny. There's no such thing as black or white in here.
Wait. He condemns idolatry. Is that seems pretty binary to me.
Not necessarily.
Why?
I think the only
like when they're
thing,
putting people to death, that's pretty binary. Like he prescribes in here putting people to death.
Right, but
that's
how do
binary.
we know that that's the right thing? How do we know that this isn't yet another example of what not